have a new blockchain consortium, LVMH, which is Louis Vuitton's parent company. Prada Group and Richemont have joined forces, unveiling the Aura Blockchain Consortium, a nonprofit that's going to promote the use of a single blockchain for luxury brands. So this is exciting. This is a conversation I haven't heard in the media for a little while, but I know a few years ago we were talking about blockchain as a technology to be able to track goods and items back to their origins. And so here we go again. The luxury goods brands have come to fruition with their consortium, and we're going to be able to prove that our Louis Vuitton bags are real. So I'm going to kick this. Who looks like a luxury brand supporter on this panel? Ben.
I raised my hand for the wrong thing there. I was going to say, no, absolutely. In service to the people, flannel. Right? This is what we're all asking for. Exactly. I chop my own wood. I hunt my own deer.
It's Louis Vuitton flannel. Thank you.
Yeah. Check out this jacket. So
I think,
really, Jen?
I think it was just...
I know, it's
just gotta
true.
appreciate
I'm so
Will
sorry,
there.
Will.
No, I thought this was interesting because when we're thinking about like the unsexy uses of blockchain, this was a use case that was really touted like 3 and 4 years ago when it was just starting to enter the mainstream, right? Like the sort of supply chain, like, yeah, and like proof of, legitimacy of certain things and stuff like that. So I think it's I don't know what kind of lagging indicator this may be, to borrow from Zach, but in this sense, I just don't really know why we're kind of circling back around to this. Maybe it's just because you have like brands with tons of money invested in their merchandise and their kind of marketing, and their value comes from just being a scarce and legitimate resource. Maybe that's why they're investing in this. But it seems to kind of be a rehashing of things that have been tried before in the past and didn't necessarily gain a ton of traction. But Will, I want to toss this to you to get your thoughts here.
And because you're wearing such a great jacket.
In the first place. Fashion
exactly. Look at the jacket.
Look at the designer outfit.
Icon.
Our colors match today.
Okay, well, I just think it's important to realize how silly this whole idea is for any sort of tracking system with a blockchain. Just doesn't make sense at all. Like, I think people on the surface say, hey, you can't tamper with the blockchain, and it's a ledger. You can put that information there. It doesn't make sense with how blockchains work, because there's a lot more to a blockchain than necessarily just keeping track of information blindly. Like, they could do the same kind of thing with a Google Sheet, and I don't understand what the difference would be, especially if this is like a private blockchain where only a few people have access to it. It'd be cool to be able to track your bag from one end of the cycle to the other, or over the years. But there's different ways of doing that don't involve a blockchain. So to me, this is just like the Long Island blockchain company all over again, where, hey, what's getting the news?
I guess they're trying to kind of tackle the authenticity issue in the luxury brands market. And I was thinking, do you think this could be better done rather than with a Google Sheet, Will, with an NFT?
Oh man.
I don't know how that would change anything, because you have two objects, right? You have one in the physical world and you have one in the digital world. And the issue is in the physical world. It's not the digital world. The physical world, you can fake things and you can make things appear as if they're not. And there's no way for you to really keep that bridge between the two always alive. If there was some sort of way where you could like weave into the fabric, like the metaverse, and I don't think we have that tech quite yet, then maybe you could create a system where you have a bag that can be tracked from the beginning of its life cycle to the end. But I think it's always going to be like an issue in the meat space where you have someone is willing to fake your handbag or fake your money or fake your watch. And I don't see how a blockchain application can necessarily change that too much, just because there's that connection again. It's just hard to keep alive.
Yeah, I have to agree with Will there. Unless you're able to create a hash of the bag to prove whether or not it's authentic, like, I just don't see how the blockchain really helps, because it's so disconnected. It's the same issue I actually have with NFTs. Most NFTs are not hashed, and then that metadata is put in the blockchain. Most of them could be replaced and you would never even know it wasn't the same NFT. The CryptoPunks, the early ones, did make them non-fungible tokens. They did make them unique by creating a hash of the actual image and putting that metadata in the blockchain. Most NFTs don't do that. So I think that this would be the same issue in this world. Like, there's no way of proving that this actual thing is unique, or in this case is actually Louis Vuitton and is not a ripoff. So I think, you know, in the early days, I think that there was all of this talk about chain of custody and how to figure out this problem. Maybe they will figure it out, you know, like you'd have to have, I mean, it wouldn't, I don't think that blockchain would be this panacea, right? I don't think it's going to be this solution, this silver bullet to save this. It's going to require a lot of really complicated structures in place to actually create products that you can prove are real. But Zach, I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, I just think it's a interesting sort of historical moment, because this project has been a long time coming. We first reported on this stuff being developed in partnership with Consensus way back in like March 2019. The funny thing here is that as this is debuting into a market that is more and more about cryptocurrencies, it's more about like we're sort of now like in the Bitcoin not blockchain moment. And when this was initially conceived, we were in the blockchain not Bitcoin moment. So that, you know, these companies were asked by Bloomberg, okay, cool, are you going to accept crypto for like payments now too? And they're like, no, we're not doing that. That's not what this is about. So just that sort of evolution in time in terms of the amount of time it took to get this done, and how far the conversation has come in those intervening 2 years was quite interesting to me on this one.
New is old and old is new, and time is a flat circle yet again.
Ben,